I think that's an excellent question. First of all, we actually spoke to the student leaders. And I would not have known about how bad the quality was, right, until I spoke to them. And it was the first time that anybody had spoken to student leaders, actually in our country. So we invited them to the same room, sat down with them, and had a very, very good discussion. I'm totally proud of these student leaders. They did very, very well. Because I told them, I was talking to them about the quality of their learning. And they turned around and said, "Madam, we are quarter-baked. We are not half-baked. We're actually quarter-baked." And that's why we must find a sustainable solution to this problem. The Band-Aid has definitely not worked. If student leaders can still tell us that their quality of education is appalling, right? Then it means all that we've been doing in the past is postponing the problem. Today we must deal with it conclusively. And I agree with you that there's a human element to all this, that these students have not been treated well, that the parents have not been treated well, that they've invested and continued investing, right, in an enterprise that is endless. How can you go to university for 3 or 4 years and come out 6, 7 years later? You know, that's unacceptable, honestly, totally unacceptable. Because the parents spent twice the amount of money that they would have spent if these kids were actually able to go to school for the number of years that they had applied to go to school for. So we need to fix this. You know? Friends, we really have to fix this problem. It cannot be a perennial problem. Every few months, our students cannot be told that they have no lecturers in class. It's really not acceptable. Yeah? And you know, you're nodding, you agree with me. It's not acceptable. Some of you are in university and have to go home several times a year. How can that be right? How can it be that we're the only country, probably, except one more, in the whole world, where there's no stability in our higher education? How can that honestly be right? How can we be sitting around tables every year in, year out, right? And doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Einstein called that insanity. That you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Right? So we need to deal with it. We can't have these Band-Aid solutions. And I'm appealing to the students, to the parents. It's actually in their best interest that we finally deal with this. Because if we have a Band-Aid solution today, right, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, we'll have another strike. We'll have another problem. Last year there were 3 strikes in 12 months. 3. How can that be right? Huh? So the committee is going to look at best practice as well across the globe. And this time I think we need to just take the bull by the horns and deal with this issue finally. There are valid concerns on all sides, and all those valid concerns must be addressed. It's not only one party hurting, it's many parties hurting. Yeah? So we must deal with that for everybody, for all the stakeholders, so that by the time we finish our work this time, everybody walks away from the table feeling that finally we've injected some stability into our higher education.
Okay, my last question.